What is up, risk takers? Welcome to the Kylted strategy. I am Pete. I am a top 10 player playing Risk, Global Domination on PC. I have a daily release schedule on YouTube. I do a fixed game every Friday. I do the Waiting on Your Best Behavior podcast on Wednesdays. And every other day I do whatever I feel like. And for today's show, we had a very special show. This is the second time I've had the privilege of being able to present the Free-For-All Risk Discord Tournament Championship Recap Show. So we had last Saturday the championship finals of the summer tournament. Our tournament champions, Maren Brahmbhatt, Legatus, and Kylted, are going to be in VC, as well as the other competitors, Cosmic Cowboy, Cherry, and Raleigh Howitzer 30. Congratulations to everyone for competing. Should be a good show. Everyone gets a chance to discuss, ask questions, answer questions, hopefully, and we can dig deep and figure out what the heck happened all together. How's everyone doing today?
Doing all right.
Hey, Cowboy.
No, I'm good.
Hey,
How
Cherry.
are you?
Hey, Kylted.
Hey.
Hello. What's up? We also have the host of the tournament, Stove's in VC. I'm sure Stove has been racking his mind for some interesting questions to ask you players.
Not so much as the last final, but
No?
there is a few questions, yeah.
I betcha. So I guess who would like to lead? Legatus? I would give you the floor first, since it's latest for you. You might want to go, but he says his mic isn't working properly. So yeah, just a second. No worries, man. So why don't we start with Maren then? How are you, Maren? The champion of the whole tournament. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Congratulations. Pretty sure you're the youngest tournament champion.
Thank you. Yeah.
At 13, that's an additional awesome feat.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got a couple cool first-time scenarios. We have we have Cosmic and Cherry both making back-to-back finals. One player hasn't done that as far as I can tell, let alone two.
And the same one, too.
Yeah, well, good for you guys. That's pretty awesome.
I think four of us, it was our first tournament, or three of us, it was our first tournament.
Riley, Maren, maybe? And you?
I think so.
Free for all. Yeah. I've done like
Yeah.
one.
I think Legatus' first tournament, too.
Yeah.
So I guess we can start at the beginning of the game. Raleigh's not yet in VC, and he comes off to a really strong start in North America. Was anyone else as impressed by his ability to capture that continent turn one? Because usually you don't see that in the first player. You see that in maybe the third, fourth, fifth, because of the slightly extra troops. How did you guys all feel about...
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Hey,
Yes,
Legatus!
we can.
How's it going?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, finally.
What I felt about Raleigh's first rolls, he got incredibly lucky. I think he lost 0 troops taking 6 territories to get...
He got a very good, yeah, I was going to mention that. He got a good roll on the 2, which isn't uncommon, but it's always nice to see you lose nothing on the 2, because typically you lose the 1 or whatever. And then he continued to lose nothing throughout the rest of the continent, which obviously was a boon to him and allowed him to take it early. I also think Legatus got a very fucking good set of rolls. I think he got 2 different territories, manualing 2 on 1, so that's really good for him.
I had the worst roll of my life, turn 1 and turn 2, but I got that goddamn thing.
Yeah, I didn't know if I would have made the same decision Legatus made, because I saw that set up to be more of a play for the Southern African continent.
Yes, so I was debating and I actually counted the territories needed to capture and the troops I would have needed to kill. And my thoughts were that I think Northern Europe was 1 territory less and 1 troop less that I would have needed to kill, though less bonuses. But the plan was, once I take it, and hopefully no one breaks me, I'm just gonna expand and get my +6 continent in the next turn. So yeah, and also I was not sure about the situation in Africa. It kind of seemed hostile a bit. So yeah, I just decided to go with Northern Europe, have a safe start, and take it over from there.
It's crazy how much the first turn seems to matter. At least in this game. Like, I didn't expect... Obviously, I don't think anyone expected the outcome, but Kylted not taking a continent, but both Raleigh and you, Legatus, successfully taking one turn one. Not what I would have expected, and then as we see, Maren goes for the South America play, setting himself up to get it turn two. And then Cowboy and Cherry put themselves in a spot that seems, even after the first turn, unrecoverable.
I would like to say, actually, so to speak on that a little bit.
Yes, sir.
And I've thought about this heavily. This is probably my biggest thing I have tried to think as much as I can over all the time since that finals. And I've talked to, like, the other finalists, except for Maren and Riley, about this. I've talked to all of you guys, and I actually meant to get to Maren, but I've just been busy, and Riley. And I think everyone here, and you can object if you think otherwise, can agree that me and Cherry's start, for both of us, I think, was really over before turn one. Because we had no continent we could get, there was nothing we could do, and on top of that, we were in the final position. So once we had gotten a continent, everyone else would have a full turn of whatever continents they've now had to use all those troops to break us. And we would only just barely get a continent, if ever. Right?
Yeah.
I have a slight disagreement with that. Just after rewatching it, Cherry's first turn, like, she did take, but she had 2 3s in the continent, and she didn't fortify one of those 3s near the other one, which left, like, turn 2, she would have 100% got that continent if she fortified. And then, like, your position, you could have took a really risky roll to try to get it on turn 2, and I think I would have, just because of how far you fall behind if you don't. But you didn't take that risk either.
I think the reason that I didn't do that was because if I hit Cherry's 3 to 5 on 3 and 1, I'd be entirely ones. I would have to rely entirely 100% on you guys not breaking me, and I think that at that point, when everyone else was getting their second continent by that point, because like 3 of you had second continents, there's no way you wouldn't break me and just use me as easy food. Like, Kylted broke me, you broke me very quickly after, once I got my continent, turn 3.
Turn 4.
So I think that's also... Turn 4?
Yeah.
Oh, but you go before me, right? So
yeah, and then my third turn was the other continent.
But I would say that there was not much, like I don't want to try and act like, oh, I lost the luck. I'm definitely not saying that, right? I definitely, with a better start, could have easily just lost the game as I did. All I'm really saying is, though, is I feel kind of like I was powerless in that situation. I think Cherry also feels the same way. I don't know, Cherry, what's your opinion? I've been talking a lot.
I don't know. To be honest, I didn't like going for the spot that I went for because every practice game that I went for that spot, I always ultimately lost. But yeah, I did really kind of feel like I could already see that I wasn't going to win or even be top 3 in this situation.
Do you have any thought about why you didn't move one of your 3s as Kylted suggested?
I wanted to keep them separate because, even though they're in the same continent, they're all touching. So, technically I wasn't separate. But, just the thought of them being separate gave me some hope that, maybe somebody wouldn't kill me.
I want to hit on the Cherry's 3 that was in, I believe, Tanzania, however that's pronounced. And then Cowboy's movement to block her troops from going through Ethiopia to into Yemen.
Oh, yeah. I was upset about that. I wanted those 3.
Because I think that hindered Cowboy from getting his continent quicker. Because I'm assuming your next turn, you move those troops up through Ethiopia into Yemen.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't do that because Cowboy had fortified onto Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That might explain why you didn't fortify one of the 3s, if you were expecting to make that play, actually.
Yeah.
The reason that I did that actually, because I did watch Pete's video yesterday. I watched like about half of it because it's a 4-hour video, so I was tired and I didn't want to watch all 4 hours.
Only some of it was
But
interesting.
for
No,
the
the first hour.
yeah, but
The,
then
the hour that killed
the
his life.
reason I moved that 2 there to block off Cherry's 3 was because Cherry went right before me, and I already felt like after turn 1, both me and Cherry were fucked. So it was kind of, I'm either playing to get 5th or I'm playing to get 6th. There's no way I'm going 4th. There's no other reality I saw where I could get that. So I'm not going to give Cherry the continent earlier, because Cherry can just break me, and then I'm just fucked, and Cherry just gets 5th, right?
So take her down with you.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily. It wasn't to take Cherry down with me. It was that I wanted 5th at least. I'm not being fucking 6th. That was my thought process. I'm not being the first out of this. So I have to hinder Cherry because Cherry's ultimately going to kill me if I don't. Right?
Cherry
I
doesn't
think
have the
that
troops
was-
to kill you.
No, but
if
Cherry
anybody's gonna
got a
kill,
continent.
Cherry's gonna be
then
the
Cherry
least
totally
likely
could.
person to
Yeah.
kill you on this whole map.
No, but I
Yeah.
would. Okay, my thought was that if Cherry got that continent because Cherry goes before me, Cherry could then just send an army into me, and because of the way that our continents were structured, I had too much that I would have to go around because I can't go through Europe because Legatus is there, and I can't go through Australia because Kylted was about to get it. So there's one territory that Cherry could just put an army on, and there's nothing I can do about it. No one else was breaking each other, so I can't rely on other people to break Cherry at the time. So I can't give Cherry any easier time getting that content, right?
That's this,
Right.
Because-
I think you could have just worked together.
But I don't think Cherry would work with me. I thought that because we both were pretty. I thought we'd be
Dude,
both.
that was everybody's fear going into this game was you two tag teaming us. That
No,
was
but
literally
I
the
don't
number
know.
1 on my list is Cowboy or Cherry dies first.
Oh
and
my
then,
god.
Then we played the game.
I just
think,
didn't see that as an
your
opportunity.
whole
I
argument
thought
here,
it was-
Cowboy, is not logical. Because how is the weakest person going to take out the next weakest person?
Because if
And
Cherry
then
gets
not
the
be in fear of
continent,
dying next.
yeah, but
If she
we
attacks
were
you,
both
she goes
fucked.
out 5th. If she does accomplish, murdering
Yes.
you,
goes 5th.
she's
And
gonna
I
go
was
5th.
playing,
Do you
'cause
think that
Cherry's
that's a
a good
move that she
player.
would do?
but Cherry wasn't going to win that
You're
game.
not
The setup
describing
was
her
not
as a good
allowing.
player right now, though. You're describing her
but-
as a dumb player.
No,
Why would she go
because
after you?
I don't think there was any way me or Cherry after that start were winning that game. And I will say this is something I will take to the grave. I think there is no way, unless we were literally left alone and were allowed to do whatever the fuck we wanted, if anyone else in the game was intelligent, we were not winning that game. That was over from turn 1. So, is Cherry going to take 5th or 6th? Which one would you rather have? Because
Okay,
Cherry
hold
could
on,
definitely
hold on,
take
hold on.
5th.
Can I speak for myself?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So in your eyes, okay, so you and I, we both saw the same thing. We both saw we were not winning and we were not getting top 3. Like a definite not getting top 3, and 4th was like really pushing it if we were going to get there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how you went with that information was, well, I'm going to go for 5th instead of 6th. And what I did with that information was, I'm going to go as far as I can for as long as I can. So my plan wasn't to come after you. My plan was just to survive and see how far I could make it. I wasn't going to settle for, okay, do I want 6th or 5th? It was, I'm going to try until I can't try no more.
All right.
I have
That's
some
fair.
agreement that a lot of the practice games, 1 or 2 people just get instantly fucked at spawn, and the other 4 to 5 are pretty much jockeying for like a good game.
Yeah.
Like that does happen often. I just
Mhm.
rewatching. I think if you guys both played turn 1 differently, we would have all collectively had a continent by the end of turn 2. And whether
do
you got
you
broken
think-
or not after that, we were doing friendly neighbor stuff, so it's possible
Yeah.
the game would have been completely different.
So,
Well, I mean, Raleigh was not doing friendly neighbor stuff with me.
Yeah, Riley
you all
gets
had
Cherry, and you
continents.
broke
You all
me.
had continents. I finally got my continent. First turn I had, he went and broke me. So that was
Yeah,
not
and
friendly.
Kylted
Yeah,
broke
it's
me.
the same thing with Kylted and it's the same thing with
Yeah.
Kylted and Cowboy. But they both
Yeah.
had 2 continents at that point, so it's
You
in
guys
their
were
power
so
to
far
do that.
behind.
Yeah.
I could,
Yeah, but
I
they
could
would have got
put you
2
out
continents regardless what
without-
we did, right?
yes,
And then they
but
just break us.
I believe it would have changed if, like, after the first turn, you move your 2 away from Cherry, so she has a path up to north. She would have probably taken the continent then by her second turn, and you could have tried taking. Well, you would have also got the continent on your second turn because there's only one troop left. So you both end up with 1/1 continents, and Kylted could have taken Australia, but he would not have invaded you yet.
Yeah, it was turn 3.
Because I think it would have been mattered more to him to keep the 2 continents first, to grow stronger, and maybe invade later. So, but by that time you would have also gotten extra troops and relied on Maren and Cherry being good neighbors and just fortified to the border of Australia, and maybe you could have protected it. That's just my thought process.
Well, another thing, sorry, I don't want to, I want to say, I also was thinking that there's almost no expansion path for me, and I didn't think Cherry really had one, because Cherry could only really go right, because Kylted had above Cherry, Legatus had to the left, and I had below. So if Cherry only can expand to the right continent, there's almost no way Cherry was holding that, and I also couldn't go to the top of Africa, right? I couldn't take that, because that's where Maren wanted to be. So even if I got the continents, it would be a +4 versus +11s, +12s, and I think eventually we would have died either way. Maybe that's an incorrect view. I don't know.
I think there would have been a good war for North Africa at that point between like you two and Maren. That would have been like probably
having a war isn't necessary. He has,
yeah, I wouldn't be able to fight that war
inside of what's that Southeast Asia bonus? Yeah.
Like,
Maren
might have went
out?
for the 9. Yeah, Maren might have went for the 9, but I like at least 2 people would have been fighting for North Africa as their second continent, where 3 of us already guaranteed had a second continent. So it would have been like a rough uphill battle, definitely right there.
All right.
And then Cherry's first to match. So was the thinking there, Cherry, was that like a desperation play? Yeah.
If I have no cards, you won't kill me.
Right.
Plus, it also got me more troops on the board because I was like fairly behind.
Yeah. But
honestly,
as we see, that doesn't actually work out all that well.
Yeah. Thanks, Cowboy. No.
Oh no, I started zero carding pretty hard. I was just like, after the first like maybe 5 or 6 turns, I don't remember when I started doing it. I was just like, there's no way I win this game. There's not even a point to get cards. Since I'm playing for 5th anyway, I may as well just not put value on myself and let Cherry get killed, because Cherry kept getting cards, right? So I was like, okay, Cherry will just die. I'll just take 5th.
That was the difference in our thoughts, because like I said, you were playing for 5th, so you were like, I'm just going to zero card this, and I was playing to survive, so if I got that set on 3, I promised myself at least living longer than you. But obviously I did not get a set on 3, so that didn't work out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot more to say about the tournament, because after that, as soon as I died, I watched for like an hour more live, and then I was just like, okay, I'm not sitting here watching Progressive Turtle, and then I just left. But I don't really have any opinions on what happened after that. All I can ask maybe is why Riley zero carded. I think it was like to let other people fight each other, but I didn't like see the logic in that. I thought that was not the greatest move. But besides that, I have no opinion of what happened. You know,
I talked to him considerably about that specifically, because I had really big plans, and that completely changed my whole motives of the game when he started doing that. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, free top 3, and it's really hard to tell your brain, hey, don't take the easy option here. So, what he was saying at the time is he thought he would force action by zero carding. Like
which is in fact the exact opposite of what occurred, and what my intuition would have been from that move. Right, that move might have been the single key reason why the stalemate occurred.
No, it is 100%.
Yeah,
really big plans before that.
Right,
and then it was a free top 3.
Yeah. So just to give a summary to anyone who maybe didn't watch the entire finals, what ends up occurring from this point that we're discussing, which is a bit in the future from the video right now, if anyone has a timestamp for me, I can fast forward to it. But basically what occurs is Raleigh stops getting cards.
39 minutes in.
Thank you. So when Raleigh stops getting cards, it prevents the sets from being equal to, or it prevents players from being worth taking each other out, essentially. So Raleigh effectively ensures himself 4th place by not keeping pace with everyone else's troop generation via the cards. And because everyone is still playing as such good neighbors, and they continue to do so for however many hours into the future, right? Until Maren's bought out. So you would say...
I don't know how long I'll be here for the recap, but I do actually want to ask quickly, Maren. What is your opinion on that? On you winning by bot out? I'm curious. I haven't heard it from you yet, which is why I wanted to talk to you.
It was weird and unexpected, but I mean, it worked out in the end, so I'm fine with it, but it's not like the ideal way to win.
I have a question. Kylted, was your plan to save up to knock out Raleigh? Or were you really just bluffing that?
Where, like at the end? Because I had big plans right before the 0 card started to happen.
I'm talking about when the 0 card had already been in effect for a really long time.
Oh no, I was just building at that point. I wanted one of them to feel like they had to take him out. Is what because I didn't really want to kill him and then be even. I wanted to maintain the advantage that I fought for.
Right. Okay.
So at that time I was just sitting like, because as soon as we stalemated, because what was it, 34 or 35 minutes after, like in game time, at 39 minutes in the video, that's when the 0 card started. But it took 55 minutes until he was killed. So it was 55 minutes of stalemate before the real stalemate happened. And by that point, we're all pretty much, like I had more troops, but to an extent where they could almost attacker's advantage kill me anyways. A Legatus could for sure, but Maren would have been less likely. But it was so close by that point anyways. I was just trying to maintain it at that point.
Because it did look like your troops were just adding up, and then they were kind of facing in that direction of, I'm going to go over here and eliminate Raleigh. Because you certainly had the troop lead, and if anybody was going to do it and then make the game even, it would have been you.
I think I was trying to find a way to maintain the advantage into the final 3, and then figure out a way to get one of them to work with me to kill the other, which I didn't succeed at. Spoiler alert! If you don't watch the final,
which was not, in fact, a successful strategy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to do the same thing as well, trying to like get one of you to work with me to take out the other. I was trying to do that, but it clearly didn't work with my signals.
Maren eventually was the weakest person on the board at the time. Well, aside from Raleigh. But he was the one that, used those troops to finish off Raleigh.
Yeah, and then put him in like a really precarious position, and almost, I don't know how many turns after, but right after that, then a goddess is like, you know what, Kylted, you have too many continents. I'm going to take one of your continents, and we're going to have a redistribution here. And so I took offense to that. And so my focus left from Maren, and me and Legatus kind of went at it to the point where Maren ended up being the leader in troops for a little bit there. And
then again at the end.
Yeah, there's so many different ways that could have went, but
right.
Yeah.
I could tell you what I was doing with my advantage before the 0 card started, because the 0 card started around 39 minutes into the video, and what I was doing, because I was getting, I don't remember, like 10 or 12 troops more per round at the time. My goal was, because of turn order, and specifically I know how Legatus plays, I wanted to be able to be in a position where I could use 1/3 of my troops to kill half of Legatus while he had 5 cards, which would have given Maren and Raleigh a chance to finish him, take his cards, and that would have progressed the game. So there was a couple like if you look at like I think 42 minutes or 44 minutes and 52 minutes, like there's a giant troop lead I have over Legatus while he's holding 5 cards in both scenarios. But as soon as the 0 card started, my mind literally went, well, let's take the free top 3 and then fight. So it kind of hindered that plan I had of like I completely friendly neighbor, and then just bam, half of them's gone and hope somebody finishes them.
Maren, so when you finished Raleigh, did you do that out of fear that he was just gonna send his troops into you?
Partially, but it wasn't the main reason. I mainly did it because I knew that if I did it, I would be kind of weak, and I did that intentionally because if I didn't take out Raleigh, what I knew what would happen was eventually someone else would, and I would become the target most likely. That was how I saw it. So what I tried to do was I took out Raleigh in hopes of being too weak for people to like focus on each other, but also being strong, so that way people don't like try to kill me for no reason and let the other person win.
Well, the reason to kill you then was because you are now the weakest person. So after eliminating Raleigh, like you, in the top 3, you are the weakest person.
Yeah.
And then you essentially make yourself weaker by taking out Raleigh. So
Yeah.
if you're worried about being targeted because you're the weaker person, you're making yourself more weak.
I know, but what I was trying to say was that if I feel like eventually I was going to get targeted at some point, no matter what. So I feel like if I got kind of weak, that would kind of, my thought process was that it would kind of force Kylted and Legatus to like fight each other a little bit and hopefully bring the attention off of me a little bit. But I also knew that if I didn't take out Raleigh, that eventually I would get targeted, I feel like was how I thought it.
Well, watching this replay now that Pete has up, he had fast forwarded to the part where you eliminate Raleigh. That turn before for Kylted, he had ended up taking Legatus's Northern Europe section away from him. So
were we fighting at that time?
Yeah, you guys were kind of breaking a little bit of bonuses here and there. So maybe that's why Maren felt safe. Like, okay, right now they're busy with each other.
And that was, as I was looking back on the video, I probably wouldn't have taken out Raleigh when I did if Legatus and Kylted weren't like having an exchange.
Right.
If we weren't having a territory dispute either, it probably was the perfect time as soon as he took out Raleigh to throw 1,000 troops into him or 500 troops into him or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so as soon as you eliminate him, Kylted's next move is to break the South African continent. So I think right there, that's showing the goddess like, hey, let's weaken up green.
Yeah, I saw that as well. But Legatus didn't take the signal?
No, I took the signal, but I was thinking if I now attack Maren, and he's already weak, he will think it's the end for him, and...
Oh, he was already thinking that, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I thought he would just suicide into me because I'm the second weakest, so that Kylted wins easily the game, because he also had the troop advantage. So my thought process was, I want to get a little bit stronger, and then we will see it from there. Yeah.
This is a common fear in these final games of oh, I think he's going to suicide into me. You guys realize like getting to this final game is not an easy feat. So you're not gonna just suicide into each other.
Excuse me?
Oh, yeah?
No, but I don't.
Good one, Cherry.
Aside from, Zert being such a fucking weirdo, but he's tired, and you guys are already into like 10, 11 hours at that point when he had did that. And this is just like maybe an hour in to this final. So I think with the stamina, and I don't even think you guys had reached that point yet. Not even close.
No, but I think it's more not the thought process of players suiciding because they're dumb, but because one player is like in an advantage, and a lot like it's really hard to trust people in some of these games, right? As much as they're skilled players, especially if you don't know their mindsets and how they play well. Like I could totally see fearing another skilled player still taking that second place or being happy with that, because you don't know like whether or not they're really determined to win this final, or if they're here and they're just like, fuck it, I got second, that's pretty good. You know,
exactly.
they could be thinking that. And then what?
They could be thinking that, but everybody's
I'd
going
rather-
into this thing, I want to win this. There's nobody that's in this final that says, hey, I'm content with second.
Yep.
Everybody's
almost-
going into
They
this
maybe
thing, I
if
wanna
they
win.
see the
Trigger on
stalemate
second.
coming, you know,
Almost
if they
pulled the
see the
trigger.
stalemate ahead of them, they may be content with that, because people by now have caught on that these games can go for 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever
Right.
it ends up being. Maybe they don't want to do that, so they're going to leave an
My
hour
logic
early and
is
save the
nobody's
time.
going into the game. Hear the words here. Into the game, content with second. Everybody's going into
Yeah.
this wanting to win.
That's fair.
Okay. All right.
That's also the fear I had around that time where I did break Maren's South Africa continent. At that moment, like I should have probably thrown like 800 or 1,000 troops into his big stack. But like, there's also at that point, if I do that, Legatus does have a free one-shot kill on me, which I don't trust him not to take.
Well, you could throw a little bit less too. You don't have to throw
Yeah, I could have thrown
yourself
like
to
800.
where you're going to die in one round.
So this is the part that I want to ask all three of you, Kylted, Legatus, and Maren, because we're at the point in the game now, Kylted as the troop leader has 5,400. And we go all the way from 5,400 to something in the 30,000s, with essentially you three remaining more or less balanced. And what Stove is suggesting is, we see a lot of jockeying for position on the board. We see a lot of continents maybe being held for a while. We see a lot of breaks. We even see a moment where the three of you guys all stop taking cards, which absolutely blew my mind. But what we don't see is anyone soft blitzing or anyone even slow rolling any stacks for any amount of time. Why?
I can explain that.
Please.
Once we get to a very sizable amount of troops, if I went and started like soft blitzing somebody 30 troops at a time,
Yep.
and then say Legatus also starts soft blitzing Maren 30 troops at a time, Maren's gonna pick one of us and he's gonna say you're getting third.
Are you
Yeah.
sure?
Yeah.
If
I
we're
mean,
taming on him, he's gonna. or if
Yeah,
we do it to
he's going to
Legatus,
die either way.
As
Yeah.
soon as I'm getting hit a little bit from both people, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm third. One of you is now third, and that's it. Game's over.
Exactly,
least that's
my
how I
thought
do it.
process too. This is
All right.
why-
Well, let's ask Maren then. Maren, if they both soft blitz you, you know you're gonna lose. Do you pick who's third, or
No.
who's getting second?
No, I just let them figure it out.
There you go.
You would let us both throw troops at you until you slowly died?
He
Or
has
would
no
you-
choice, sir. He has
Yeah.
no choice. He has to just take that hit and just keep his chin up.
Well,
Because if he
at
throws
this
any
period-
other troops at somebody else, his game is 100% over.
Well,
Well,
at
yeah,
this
but if
period
he's
where
getting
it's
hit
like
by both
5,000 to
people-
3,000, I meant like when we're at
Yeah.
20,000, if we do something like that, we're all mutually able to kill each other in the 20,000s because we're closer.
Yeah.
So if we slow roll him at 20,000, then he knows he's going to go third. He could kill either of us instantly. And that's the threat once we get that big. At this
Exactly.
point, when
Yeah, I
we're
would.
5,000s, we should have.
Also, like I never played. Expect the practices. I never played against Maren, and I had no idea about his thoughts during the game. So it's good to see now that he's saying that he would have not suicided into either of us. But during the game, it was very
Yeah.
uncertain.
Okay. So this segues into the question, now that I still have everyone in VC, this segues into the question that I have for everybody. So this is open, and I would love to hear what you all think. So I wanted to ask you guys, if any of you wanted this game to go on for 4+ hours. Because it seems to me that meeting player expectation is a key ingredient of fun and a satisfying tournament for all its participants. And as such, the comment Stove made to me once about it's not the settings, but rather the players that are the cause of stalemates is well met, right? This is not the fault of caps. This is not the fault of fixed cards, right? This is a progressive world dom game that went this long. So the tendency to stalemate is not any individual's decision. It's not Raleigh's fault. It's not Kylted, Legatus, or Maren's. It's an emergent phenomenon caused by everyone playing to win and the rules of the game. And since we can't change risk, what can we do from a tournament perspective to incentivize action and disincentivize stalemates? That one's for all of you.
Oh.
I feel like I'd give this one the stalemate is mostly attributed to that zero carding, which just put us in the free top 3 mindsets that just lasted a full hour. The game was going to last less than an hour, in my opinion, before that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I also
that's
wanted
just the
to say
beginning with
that-
Raleigh, though. What after
Yeah.
Raleigh's eliminated, that's an hour in, and we went 5 hours for this game.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
what
the
I
whole-
wanted to
oh,
say
sorry, go
is, like, you have to think of the perspective of, I want to win no matter what. And let's say the game can last 5 hours shorter, but you have 10% less chance of winning because of playing more aggressively. And I believe the players who really want to win, they will say, okay, well, I'd rather sit it out and have my 30% instead of those 20% chance of winning than being aggressive and having a shorter game, maybe winning, but maybe weakening yourself enough that someone else can use that to your advantage. At the point when only the 3 of us were left. Because basically we were all too big to fail, but too weak to win. And just one small miscalculation in an attack, I don't know, losing like 5,000-10,000 troops would lead to you being the weakest and suddenly the prey. So I think the safest bet was sadly for everyone to just play it safe.
Yeah, but playing it safe didn't work in the end, did it? Playing it safe resulted in what seems to be inevitable. How stalemates end is by bot outs and or suicides.
It
And-
worked for one person.
Well,
This just freaks me out, Pete. This is completely off topic, but you just started talking, and we're watching in your video where you're not at your chair. So it was
yeah, well, there's 2 Pete videos occurring simultaneously.
yeah. I'm in the Bermuda Triangle Pete videos.
Yeah, sorry, Stove. I didn't mean to trip you out.
That was a trip. All right, let's continue.
So I think maybe like one change that could have changed the whole situation would have been a smaller map, where it's like the early game and mid game are way faster, so it's more unlikely that such a situation can occur. Because here the problem was also like with fixed caps or prog caps, you can usually, depending on the map, at least card block. Here we couldn't, because no matter where you went, you could just have broken the continent of the other person and get the cards. So either it's cooperation to kill someone off together, which we talked through, that was not really an option for any of us, because we feared that the third person would just suicide and decide the second place and third place. Yeah, so there was also no card blocking chance. It was a kind of messed up situation.
So your contention is still that the stalemate is emergent from the settings and not from the players?
I think it's both. I think it's also regarding the play side of the players that such thing can happen. I also played very passively, which might have been a mistake now in the afterwards. But I think the settings also let it happen, and once we had a good amount of practice, I think around the end of the week, Thursday, Friday, and most of us were very familiar with the settings and what's the best way to win and gather an advantage. This turtling strategy, this passive stalling game already started to show signs. I think one of the practice games lasted for 2 hours because the exact
Almost,
same
yeah.
reason. Yeah.
Okay.
We
I didn't
we
see-
developed a meta. We played so many practice games that we
Yeah.
kind of developed our own meta, And
Yeah.
and Legatus he won probably 10 out of 20 practice games and got
Yeah.
second in like 8 from
Yeah.
his strategy. So like we moved towards that because that's what was winning, and we're like, if you're gonna sit back while everybody fights, I'm gonna
I'm
sit
gonna
back
do
while
it. Yeah.
everybody fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. Good neighbor theory to the nth degree.
All right, so
Yeah.
Legatus brings up the map size for the setting. Now this is my department because this has been brought up so many times of how do we streamline these games.
Sure.
And so I've changed the settings around a lot. This is now a World Dom Progressive in the finals. And that's what was requested after the Capitals finals was, do a World Dom, it won't last more than 30 minutes. I said, okay, I'm telling you it will,
Yeah.
but all right, let's do it. And so I do it. And this game had lasted hours, not, 30, 40 minutes. Since you guys are the ones that are mainly doing the practicing, I jumped into a few of them just to see how you guys were doing. But the ones that I was in lasted 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It
Well-
graduated through the week.
Yeah.
It
I
could
mean,
graduate through the
the
week.
one I was in with you, Stove, you were in with Bernie, and you two were just like fucking with each other. So like the game was over quick because you both like killed each other on each other. Wait, or was that the other round? I think
No,
that may have been the second.
I wasn't worried about Bernie. Bernie killed me, yes, but
Yeah.
I believe it was Grim that was in there that had destroyed my bonuses. I was hunting Grim, and Bernie just somehow caught on that I was weak. But yeah.
There was a lot less on the line there. I don't agree that it's
Oh,
the
definitely,
settings.
there's a lot.
I think
It's just
the
a
players.
practice. Yeah.
I think it's the players and what was on the line, and then the fact that we
Mhm.
actually developed our own personal meta. Like,
Yeah.
if Legatus playstyle didn't dominate all week, like say Pete practiced with us all week and Pete was just dominating playing the way he played, I think we would have emulated that a lot more.
Yeah.
But just what was winning all week, we all kind of drifted towards, and I swear it's the Raleigh zero card for 55 minutes where we just waited for him to die that put us in the stalemate, because I had serious aggressive plans around the 35-40 minute mark, but that as soon as
Serious
you see
aggressive
that,
plans.
oh yeah,
I have a
I like
question.
your description for that. Well, hold on.
I was gonna blow the board up.
What was your plans?
Well, I think I alluded to it earlier a little bit. When Legatus had 5 cards and he's first act right before me, and because I know how he plays and dominates this game type, my goal was to build with my advantage till I got to a point where I could use 1/3 of my troops to kill half of his, and then while he's holding 5 cards, Maren and Raleigh would decide which one of them is going to kill him. I was 99% sure if Maren didn't, Raleigh would have.
Yeah, because of the turn order was beautiful for that.
Yeah,
You're first
and-
to act. They all see your actions, and they'll say, "Hey, we could eliminate this player now."
And at 39 minutes, like the zero carding started. If you go a little bit further forward, I think it's like 44 minutes and 52 minutes are like prime positions where I have like a giant troop lead over Legatus because I just cashed in, and he's holding 5 cards. And if Raleigh had a couple extra cards and wasn't zero carding and weak around that time, I would have set that kill up. But as soon as he's zero cards, it's like, oh, tournament finals, we need to make top 3. I would have been extremely disappointed not to make top 3 after the rest of the tournament. So as soon as it's like a free top 3, it just kind of put a halt on everything.
Yeah.
Just before we lose track of what Legatus was saying, I actually think I disagree with you slightly, and not to say that I'm right and you're wrong or vice versa, but when the point you made earlier about how your expectation of players to play, instead of if there's a 10% chance that the risky play leads to death, then you don't take it, is not typically how I view that situation. And maybe this is a big tell for me that I lean more aggressive than you, or maybe I lean more aggressive than the average. But do you hear what I'm saying? I think I would not see it that way.
Yeah, sure. I mean, different people, different opinions, and I respect that. It's just how I view the same. I really wanted to win the tournament, so I tried to get the maximum out my chances of doing so.
Not willing to take the risk.
Well, as to be expected, all these players are
Yeah.
playing to win.
Yeah, I mean it's also depending on the game mode because in earlier rounds, well, not round 1 and not round 2, but after that, it was a completely different scenario. Like when we had 70% domination, you had to take the risk in order to get a lot of points and win the game. It could go either way. Maybe you don't make it and you're a prey and you're just getting wiped out, or maybe you make it and you get a lot of bounties, a lot of kills, and win the game, and you're basically set up for the next couple of rounds. It's the same for zombies. So yeah, there also I had a different strategy going in.
Okay, so Legatus thinks a smaller map will help the speed up the game. Does anybody have other suggestions?
My
I'm not
suggestion,
sure.
as you know, is zombies. I want a zombies final. I want to see somebody prolong. Like, I know zombies can be prolonged, but I'm saying that this is probably going to be the least likely to be prolonged as much as we have in this final and the last one. So I think zombies is the mode we need to try out.
I think another interesting one, and I'm not even that big of a fan of this mode, but I think a 70% could be very interesting because it wouldn't allow people to just sit in big stacks, because once they get big enough, someone could very easily take just the whole board. You have
Like
to
that,
actually
yeah.
be actively holding your land and actively playing in a way that's no one player could just board rush, because if they can, they will, and then they'll just win the tournament,
If
right?
you find the right map for that, I really like that idea for a final.
Yeah, I
A lot of
agree
Because
with
70%
too.
would heavily force you to be like, even on something like Turkey, let's say, a map that's so ridiculously open, there is 0 choke points on that map, that you would have to have stacks on all of your land, because if any of it's a weak point, they can go right through it and just take the whole map. You have to like guard the stuff you own rather than just one big stack that if you mess with me, I'll smack you with it. You know? It'd be a completely different playstyle to just how it is currently, where with caps or even World Dom, whatever, it's 1 or 2 big stacks and that's it. And you don't give a shit about your ones. They're just there to take continents and to hold land. You know?
Right. So we're at this part now in this video where Kylted is just destroying a lot of Legatus. And Maren, you see this happening. So Legatus is at 6,200 troops, 97, 1 territory. Maren, did you consider throwing, like a little bit, I don't know, like 900,000 troops into Legatus' stack when Kylted took over on Legatus?
I was considering it, but I don't really think it was the right decision for me because I finally got the troop advantage, and I maybe would have done like 400 or something like that, but I wouldn't do 900 or close to 1,000, because then I would have just made Kylted stronger again, and I feel
It
like
would have balanced you guys out. So I said 900 to 1,000 specifically because I think it would have brought you guys dead level, you and Kylted, and it would have put Legatus out third.
yeah, I think that could have been a good idea, but I still think that it wasn't a good idea. I don't know why, to be honest.
All right.
I guess that since maybe it's that Kylted had the troop advantage before. Even if I did like a decent amount into Legatus, that eventually Kylted would have taken the troop advantage, even if it was just like a slight like 1 or 200 troops advantage. I still think that Kylted would have sustained an advantage of some sort. That's just what I think of it.
Yes, and also we are back to the same story of if someone gets very weak, he can decide the fate of the other two. So who's
Yeah.
gonna win? If I'm like down to 4,000 or 5,000, I'm basically after a couple of turns I notice, okay, there's no way out. So what do? Do I sit here for 2-3 more hours, or one more hour until I'm finally killed because nobody wants to waste their troops too much? Or do I just say, okay, well, let's say Kylted was dominating the whole tourney, he deserves to win more, or let's say Kylted was too strong, so I would rather give Maren the win and just act. So it was very uncertain, I believe.
Kylted pissed me off this game, so I think that would be the more likely scenario, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right.
I agree with what Legatus said, and I also would like to add something in terms of like prolonging the game in finals. I like Cherry and Cowboy's idea of zombie 70%, and I play 70% on rank. So like I have like good map ideas for those if like that like was the decision. But I think it's just like, and this might be my biggest takeaway from being in the finals, is that, and I kind of thought this before, that I feel like some settings will be more prolonged than others, but there's never going to be a setting that doesn't prolong at least somewhat in the finals. I think it's just because, like Legatus and Kylted said, no one wants to really risk it and fail.
Mhm.
Everyone's playing it safe at some point. So, yes, 70% might be the quickest of all of the game modes in terms of a final, but I still think it would be somewhat prolonged because no one really wants to take the risk. But I agree that Cowboy, that it would be a good idea for like a quicker.
Yeah, I agree too. I think zombies and 70% dom, even though I really hate 70% dom, but it could be a good idea.
Okay. Well, I mean, none of these settings are written in stone. I spend like most of the off season playing settings that I'm wondering about. You know, either that they're suggested or I thought, okay, this might be a good idea. So I'm not throwing these settings all together willy-nilly. I put time into this.
These are good settings. It just like it. There was some circumstances that caused this stalemate, right? Like it's very unlikely that happens again, in my opinion.
So I've been throwing around all sorts of ideas in my head, and one of the things that I initially came to and has been iterated a bit was the idea of a timer. Like, if the game has an expectation of an ending, like it goes a max of X number of hours, whatever that expectation is, having it not be open-ended might be a relief to the competitors and might actually be a benefit to onboarding players and have them not be like, well, I don't know if I have a 12-plus hour finals in me or whatever. And then one idea that was given to me was the idea of not a game timer, but rather a kill timer, something like the shot clock in the NBA. You know, if after X amount of time the game state is not progressed, either a kill is not made or in the case of caps, like a card block is not made, then everyone ties for lowest. What does everyone think about that?
I really like
Or
that
some
idea
sort of punishment.
because I think that it would be a very good way where players have to like work as a team in a sense to progress the game and all decide amongst each other who's the next to go. Because if they don't, then they're all punished for it, right? So that way, even if a player decides that they want to stalemate the game, the others will just kill them then, because they're not the one that's helping out, so they're not just going to fuck everyone. So we'll just kill you, and then we'll progress the game. And it forces action to consistently be happening, and not have meaningless turns of just card trading, with no actual skillful development being made in the match.
Like right now we're at a point in the video here, just to recap, where the three of you guys stopped taking cards entirely. What on earth was the thinking there?
I think it was just fun.
Well,
There was just a break.
I mean, if you guys are having fun with this, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell anyone how they are to enjoy the game, right? That's not where I'm coming at it from. I love good design, so I'm looking at what the incentives actually create and what could potentially be a different / more fun possibility. Right, this is not to cut up anyone. Like, we all know how hard Stove is working at these settings. I'm sure it's incredibly frustrating for you, Stove, to hear people be like, "Oh, these settings suck." Right? I'm sure that would like really piss me off if it was my tournament.
It is.
Yeah. So like,
Frustrating,
do respect, man. Like, I'm really happy about.
Because when I'm practicing these settings I'm not practicing. I'm trying them out. When I'm trying them out, I don't run into stalemates. I mean, on progressive cap games, yeah, they're always going to be longer, and that's fine. They're caps. I expect that. But when I'm doing the 70% of the zombies or a progressive game, they don't go this long. And so when somebody's like, "It's the settings. Your settings are broken." No, it's the players.
Well,
I'm
I think
telling you.
it's the-
Like I've done
I
this
think
so
it's
many
the
times.
mindsets,
It's
though.
not the players.
I don't
it's
think
not
it's
the
the
settings.
player.
It's just the final mindset.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
you
there's
can't
that.
risk you've spent all these weeks building up this finals, and this is the big thing where you either go home as that's the guy who placed fourth in the finals, or there's our fucking champion, and that's a pretty big
Yeah.
difference there. So, with that being said, you don't want to die early, and when it gets to the late game, especially if you've already invested 2, 3, 4 hours into the game at this point, it is now the mindset of, well, if I lose now, then was this worth it, right? Did I really spend 5 hours to get third? No.
Sunk
Yeah.
I want
cost
first now.
fallacy.
Exactly.
Yep.
You've already put this time in that if you were to leave now, it wouldn't be worth it, so you gotta stick it out. But then, because everyone has that thought process, because that's a natural thought process of how these things go, nobody wants to progress the game because you're just putting yourself at further risk to be the next one out of it.
Yeah.
I actually said sunk cost fallacy is the exact reason why I didn't kill Legatus at 2 hours and 20 minutes. I can't. I just can't. I didn't go through all that for a second.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I love it, Kylted. You are prepared with timestamps.
I was going to be, and I just didn't grab any. Anyways,
I wanted to
I might
ask
peace
you,
out.
Pete. I like the idea of a timer, but how would we implement it in the finals and semifinals?
Yeah, hey man, this is just this is early stages, right? The first thing whenever any sort of new idea comes into the mix is like, hey, is this even viable at all? And then we can iterate to a place where maybe it works or maybe it doesn't work. But the first real question I still don't know if I'm a minority opinion or not is even do people want finals to go for multiple hours? Do we want these big epic games? And then if we do we want them to be open-ended, or do we want there to be some limiting factor? Right? I'm not trying to judge where the fun is for everyone, right? I know what I like, and I like games to go 20 minutes, maybe an hour. But that's not to presume that, a multi-hour caps game is not super satisfying for those who love it.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm in the minority when it comes to this. I love long games, and I feel like the final should be a long, big, they all build up to this kind of thing. But
Yeah,
I think I'm in the minority with that one.
I agree with you, Terry. I think I like long games too.
Is there a
Yeah.
way to do a big long game where there's fireworks and not just boredom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
I
the setting
mean-
for that?
There can
We
be
could-
fireworks. There could
we
be
could-
fireworks.
There could be fireworks, yeah. We could do this thing, and then Pete can just stream a video of fireworks as it goes along, and there you go.
Yeah.
I gave him a little bit of content with that 69 stack. I did.
Play the William
Yeah,
Tell
yeah.
overture. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Well,
Can
I
I,
am somewhat midway. I think finals shouldn't be too short, but also not too long. Maybe a good movie lasting 90 minutes, building up, and then having an epic battle in the end. So that would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So zombies on Simple World.
Oh yeah. The Nick finals.
No.
I have recently started playing those settings. They were suggested by Nick,
Huh?
and let me tell you, they are some insane settings.
Kaboom, kaboom.
It is very kaboom. It is Russian roulette going right into that game.
Oh yeah.
I want to play that. Actually, that sounds fun as shit.
It's so Nick. It really
It
is.
is really insane.
Yeah.
I'd like to add to the kill timer or the game timer, like what Pete was saying.
Yeah, what
I
do you
think that would be. I think it would be okay for early or even middle rounds, but I think in the finals I don't. At that point, in the finals, I think it really comes down to skill anymore. I think it comes down to speed, and like for kill timers or for game timers, I don't think it comes down to like who's going to win, like Risk, in my opinion, should be. I think it comes down to who has the strongest, who has the most amount of troops by like X amount of time is how I see it. But that's
let me tell you the complication on that. So having a kill timer in the early rounds is kind of a complicated problem for me, because I myself cannot host all these games. I have to put faith into these event helpers that I, put into the staff position. You're asking me to rely 100% perfection from all of the EH with this timer.
I'm not saying that it should be like that. I don't think it should, but I think it's more logical to do it in the earlier round than in the finals. Or
well, in the semis and the finals, I can watch those full way through. So there could be a timer on those ending round games, the semis and the. That's something that's possible that I know I can control. But as for like early rounds, like that's event helpers have things happen. Reality happens, and like they can't sit there for their whole game. They can start it and then they may disappear. They may put their results in. They may not. There's times where I have to DM them. What's the results? Or can you please put the results in? Who did what? And like there's some things that are missing. I have to go to SMG and get the data that's missing. So if I'm having to go to SMG with the timer, did somebody kill somebody then? Did the timer get restarted?
It's way more work. I hear you.
It's a lot.
Oh yeah.
I'm not being paid to do this, so.
Yeah, who are these bum event helpers, Stove?
The event helpers, they do what they can, and I respect them for what they do.
I'm kidding.
Good fucking job to every single one of them. Like, they all put in work.
Yeah, I love you, buddy. I love this tournament. It's great.
But real life happens, and if somebody has something to do, or something happens, it's unexpected, it's just that rule would be so hard to keep up with. It's just...
Like I said before, I don't think it's like a good idea for any round, but I'm saying like if it was going to happen, I think it would be more logical to do in the round. Yeah. But I 100% see with like how it's a lot more work for like Unity event.
The big question is if we would only do it later rounds, like how do we score those rounds? Let's say like the timer runs out and there's like 4 people left in the semis, then
everybody
how do we how do we do the
see that's what it comes to, like Pete's thing. He had said everybody would tie for the lowest available position. So if there's 4 people left and you guys are all not willing to make a move, then you all tie for 4th, which I don't. If I was to throw this into the what's that channel we have, the community feedback, because I will ask for feedback here and there, and Lucy wants me to use that channel more and more often. I have no problem throwing in this timer thing to see how the community feels about it. In my experience, when you start taking away things from players, like, oh, your game's going to be cut short because you're trying to play smart, or you're trying to stay alive, or whatever your reasons are for not making the big moves.
They hate that.
It does not get received well.
Okay.
I can see that.
Yeah.
How has the reception been, Stove, to the new the incentive change this time around, the 3-to-2 ratio between bounties and placements?
It's sped up a lot of the games.
No, but how is the reception? How did people feel about it?
Oh, I didn't get any complaints about it. Absolutely none.
So it was good. It was a universally well-received amendment. Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. And it ended up with Kylted getting 130 points.
Yeah.
Incredible.
10 points less than I wanted, but...
I wanted some more.
Yeah, of course.
I wanted 140. That was
it wasn't enough. I needed 150 points.
Of course you did.
Set that record. Kylted, that is the highest amount of points, by the way, that we have done in a tournament, but it's also the first season of the points being like this.
It's gonna last, I think.
It's gonna last? Oh, yeah, it is a lot of points.
You could convert it from your tournament, how many points it would have been, like, present day, and see if it's still the record.
So, actually, that brings me to the question I have for Legatus now. So, towards the end of the game, you went just nuclear on Kylted.
After the
You-
bot
I
out?
gotta go before we get into this conversation. No, I'm just kidding.
Is this after the bot out, Stove?
Yeah, this is after the Maren bot out.
Okay, so Maren,
So,
let's do the timeline. So Maren bots out, and then
Maren bots out. He can't get back in, and Legatus comes around and just destroys Kylted. Like and I believe he got an amazing roll on his largest 30-some thousand stack as well.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And it's just
so it was 30,000,
Legatus,
38,000 to 40, and Legatus is left with 85k.
Yeah, he's 85.
No, sorry,
8.5.
8.5.
Yeah. It's an amazing roll. He went into it under, and came out with so much left.
Yeah.
Legatus, did you consider you and Kylted working on the bot together, the Maren bot?
Okay, so first of all, I have to say this was a mistake due to me not knowing how the bot would play, because I literally never played against a bot having this many troops. So my thought process was the bot is a bot, so sooner or later it will be killed, either by the two of us or either in a 1v1. And I was really certain, also due how to the game played out, that if that was the case, that the bot could have been killed in a 1v1, that Kylted would have killed me the first turn he gets. So I was debating, should I kill him or give him the benefit of the doubt, but I was pretty certain the bot can be killed, so I was like, no, I'm gonna act first and deal with him before he kills me.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, well, in the beginning it even was going pretty well. I think I lost like 3k troops and the bot was down by 9k. But then it escalated pretty quickly, and then I saw, okay, this was a mistake and there's literally no way out. Like, it's not mathematically possible to beat the bot, especially with the card lock. I was not expecting that.
Well, you
I
go
believe,
into the 1v1 with the bot at about 25% of its size.
Yeah.
So there is a road to victory, I'm sure.
There is. I believe you went too hard on that bot right away.
Mm-hmm.
You should have been taking your card, hit a couple stacks, take a card, hit a couple stacks, take a card.
Mm-hmm.
I believe if you would have just inched your way, just slowly destroying the bot, I believe it is possible.
It's definitely possible.
Kylted, when this attack happens on you, what are you feeling at this point?
I'm pretty sure you read the chat.
I saw like, okay, Legatus, you can stream now. So
yeah.
What was going on is we were both being kind and giving Maren the benefit of the doubt to get back in and not bot out. So we were working together. I was breaking the bot's continents so it didn't break into us and hit us. And then I stalled till the end of my turn, and then right at the end of my turn, Maren posted a picture showing he was out of the game and he was in the lobby. And immediately Legatus just killed me. So I thought, like, my whole game plan, if he didn't come back, was to start hitting a bunch of bot stacks to show him we need to kill the bot together.
Okay,
But
so you
I
didn't
didn't
have
even
no
get a-
plan in the back of your head, like, hey, I'm gonna take out the last remaining real player.
No, I would bet lots of money that you're all wrong, and it's actually impossible to beat the bot in that scenario.
What?
No,
Hear me out.
Look,
Hear me
you
out.
can do it.
I've
You can
done
do it.
Yeah, no,
it's
no,
I've
possible.
seen him
Hear me
do
out.
it.
Hear me out. If you have 1/5 of the bot's troops, even if you have 10% of the bot's troops, and you're playing progressive, you can almost always beat the bot. Not when it's this big, and not when the card trades are this
You
big.
got that percentage
Okay,
though.
so hold on.
No, but the card
thing
trades
is
and
here-
relative to the stacks, we're not even remotely close. There's no way.
Oh, it would have taken him a while.
Mhm.
100% would have taken him a while, but
I
Dude,
typed
he-
out the
he
math
hit
to
so
Legatus.
much.
It's impossible. I typed out
No,
the math
it's-
to Legatus. It's not possible. I
No,
promise
it's
you.
totally it's possible. I've seen Stove do it. This is a skill set that is not really seen in most players unless you are a pro caps player, because that's where bots of this size exist. I've seen Stove do it numerous times. I still am struggling with this skill, but I've seen it done numerous times. You can take out a bot at you're only like 25, like that is 75, whatever the math. I'm not a math person. That's humongous compared to you. You can take the bot out if you do it right. and I've seen it done right. But it's not a skill most people have, though.
When you're at 200 and 300 troops and the cash-ins start jumping to 200, 300, you can catch up as the cash-ins like the cash-ins in comparison to the stack of troops the bot has are a lot different in lower troop numbers than this one was. Like for him to win with attacker's advantage to kill an extra 38,000 troops is like you have to. It took him 30,000 to kill 40,000. He would have needed to survive another 30,000 just to kill the bot's 40,000, but by then it would have already got another 40,000 from cards.
No. All right.
You have to card block.
You can try to card block,
block,
but this would have been kind of impossible to card block because of the 37,000 that's still sitting on inside of Brazil.
Card block it, yeah.
But my thing is that I feel like he hit too much too quickly. You know, you could hit a couple stacks and then stop. Make sure you're not getting card blocked. What was a bad move was him weakening himself to the point where he didn't have anything to attack to get a card.
Yeah.
Him not getting cards devastated his game.
I will run through the numbers with you later if you want. That was not a possible win. There's no chance.
I mean, we could set up this map to where I'm up against 38,000 with only 9,000 troops. We can build this.
It would only take 4 hours.
Yeah, it only take 4 hours. So we can build it. And we can try to get it as close as we can. Yeah.
If we could create that scenario, I would bet against you, and I'd give you crazy odds.
Crazy odds. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Like,
I want to get involved in this bet. And I actually, no disrespect to Kylted, I actually want to put my money on Stove because I feel like if anyone could do it, you could do it.
I can do this. I've done it before.
I know, I believe you.
Yeah, and I've seen it.
I believe you.
And I have witnesses, Kylted. So
Yeah, hello, hi.
Please don't bet against me.
on 40,000 troops with cash-ins at 1,000 or 1,200.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I would love to see that video then. Honestly,
There is no video, but I'm just saying I've done it. My video is Cherry's eyes.
Yes.
Were you able to card block it though? Because you can't card block on this map.
No, I wouldn't necessarily. The card block is important, but it's not a necessity. What's a necessity is always getting cards. You cannot get low enough because where we're at in the video now, he has this 800 stack. If it was still like in the thousands, he would still be able to hit this 394 that's there and get a card.
Well, there's also multiple
safe.
turns here where he doesn't take the 16 in New Guinea, even though he's getting like 20, 30 troops.
I think Legatus was tired and didn't notice that
didn't see the
Western
16.
Australia.
Yeah.
I don't think he saw the
That's
16.
too bad.
No, I saw it, but it's not accessible, right? I mean,
You have 18 right now, and the bot has 16 there.
Yeah.
If you look at 426
Where?
on the video, 426 in the video, you have 21.
Pete's live on it currently.
Yeah.
Oh, is
Yeah.
he? Oh, okay. I didn't
So
realize.
the bot has 16, yeah, and it's covered by
A 1.
560.
It's covered by your 1.
And then the bot
Which
puts in right there, and then that,
the
that
bot puts
door is
in and
now
it's just-
closed. I'm going to go back
Yeah,
another minute, and you can see.
Yeah.
There's a couple
Can
of
you do
turns
that?
where we go by.
Oh no, but you cannot access it because like
There's a line right there, buddy. It's there.
From
The
Western Australia to New Guinea.
It's the 16. Yep.
my 1 can connect to the 16.
Yeah, you see the dotted.
No,
yeah, it's
I'm
right
pretty
there.
Sure, I'm pretty sure it's not possible because in some of the practice games I actually blocked myself in the end game rush, thinking it would connect.
So
but
we're
it
not
did
talking about
not.
the Philippines to New Guinea?
Yeah.
We're talking about Western Australia. The south of New Guinea connects to both pieces of the Australian continent. And there's one of yours leading to that 16. You come up from Australia.
I'll throw some in stream chat here.
Yeah.
To the left of the 567.
Yeah.
Oh, that connects.
Yes.
Yeah, you can see the lines.
Yes, sir.
Other lines.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
1 second. All right, so let's
Okay.
check the stream chat in the Risk Discord here. And it's uploading a picture for you.
Okay.
In stream chat?
If it loads,
okay.
it seems like it's being
Yeah,
very slow right now.
I
There it
already
is.
see it. Yeah.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Okay. So those two connect. Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I apologize to
Ah.
the people that are talking in stream. I just now noticed.
Oh true, and
There's even-
there's even a line. Okay, well, I did not notice that until now. Okay, that's interesting.
That's a
Okay.
thing, right?
Well, thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
so
thank you for reminding me.
Yes, sir.
I wanna catch up. Crooked here had mentioned fog would be the best way to go to speed things up. The reason, and it would speed things up. That's not wrong, but it's the final game, and the rules are if there's fog of war on, we can't have it live. I
Yeah.
feel that it is better that the final game can be watched.
Just make it so it could be live for the final game.
Actually, I have an idea about that. If all the people were able to stream, you could do a fog game for the final game, because then each person could be streaming and then somehow could put that all together. I don't know.
Just record it, he says.
Yeah, but I think it
Well,
would be
that too.
way easier to.
Man,
It's
Mike
so
loves fog so much.
interesting.
He's just like, just give us fog. It fixes everything.
Right, right.
Video editing too, so.
Oh, I
Right.
play fog with most of my settings, especially when I'm just playing for fun in Global
Mhm.
Dom. I love fog. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't have anything against it. It's just.
No, I'm just saying, like, I assume that, like, all of the people are good and they wouldn't cheat, but, like, making a fog finals would definitely open.
I'm not saying
some
you guys are
doors.
gonna cheat either. It's just I'm playing it safe. You know, I don't
Yeah.
want any kind of problem or like, oh, it was fog, so how did this person know I moved here? And it could have just been good intuition. Like I'm
Yeah.
very good at reading fog, and I get accused of cheating often because I'm good at reading fog.
Yeah.
I pay attention to what people are getting per turn. I know if their troops went up just 1 or 2 points, 1 or 2 troops, I notice that. And I will know exactly where they are and what they hold.
That's true.
Y'all gotta watch
But,
out for Stovey sneaky like that.
I am sneaky. But alright, let me make sure I've caught up on this chat here.
Yeah, so
Okay.
at this stage in the game, the bot has now choked out Legatus, and he is not getting cards, and this is the inevitable victory. So,
Mm-hmm.
are there questions maybe, while we still have 5 out of the 6 players in chat, are there any questions you guys wanted to ask each other that we haven't gotten to? Or anything left to say?
I did have one question for the rest of the finalists. Did Raleigh practice with any of us?
He
No.
specifically did not want to because he knows how to play the game like progressive free for all. So he's like, I know how to play that game. I didn't need to practice. Kind of like Pete would
Yeah.
need to practice it, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, if
So
I was there,
that-
I wouldn't have practiced with you guys either.
So that
I
was
just wanna
my
give
thing. Was I was so used to practicing with you, Kylted, and Legatus, and Maren, and like I think we may have even practiced with Cowboy at least once. But
Yeah.
I was so used to
No, I didn't
practicing with
practice
you
once.
guys, so that when Raleigh came in and he just took my he broke my bonus as soon as I was like, what the fuck is this? Like I was completely thrown off. Like I did not expect that at all.
Yeah, because it wasn't what you're used to.
Yeah.
It's the
But-
same move Zerep did to me in one of the practice games, which I realized if you have a bonus early and you can break someone's and they have no way to retaliate against you, you just make sure they're instantly eliminated and you
Yeah.
move
Yeah.
on. So I
Yeah.
had the same opportunity with Cowboy, and that's why I pressed that. And I guess
Yeah.
Raleigh saw that with you because you didn't have yours yet.
And that's why
Got it.
practice pays off.
Hmm.
I think if Raleigh, this is his downside. Yeah, he knows how to play these settings, and he felt confident not practicing at all. He should have practiced because he would have known not taking cards when the sets are that high. They're already in the hundreds. Like that is going to be death for him.
Oh yeah.
100%. His game is over. You cannot just not take cards.
Yeah.
You have to take that risk. You can't play a progressive game and not take cards.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right, so now that we're at the end of this video, in a game like this, how I would play it is when it gets to the final 3, maybe even final 4, my feeling is that nobody should hold continents. I feel like everybody should be breaking everybody. Nobody should be getting any kind of significant lead 100% of the time. Why was everybody letting everybody hold continent?
For me, I had the most continents. So for me, nothing changing most benefited me. That's why I wasn't doing anything.
That's correct. So okay, so that's valid for you. But as for like Legatus and Maren, like you guys are
Well,
making less.
For me, I tried at one point. I believe I was going hard after Kylted, and
Yeah, what I'm saying is not just specifically Kylted. I'm saying everybody. Nobody has continents.
that's true. But I tried to make some chaos, and in the end, what I think the second strongest by 1,000, 2,000 troops, something like that. And well, basically nothing happened. I just wasted a lot of troops and became the weakest. So that
Well,
was the point I said.
It's going to go
okay.
back and forth though, Legatus, because if you're
thought
hitting
so,
everybody
it
and breaking
didn't.
all their bonuses, then that means they have to attack back and they have to break some bonuses or something
I
too.
know, but the thing that happened is, and that was, by the way, very, very well played by Maren, that I believe he showed signs for me to attack Kylted, which I also did. But once I hit him hard and broke all his continents, and chaos emerged, he pulled back, and Kylted's wrath came full on to me. So what happened is we were fighting each other, burning troops, and then Maren, he pulled back, at least that's how I thought it, and he suddenly became the strongest amongst all of us. I became the weakest, Kylted became second from first, and even though he had a huge lead advantage.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's why I asked Maren why he didn't throw a set amount of troops at your stack. Just a soft blitz. And I'm not saying throw everything, just a soft blitz, because Kylted already has shown like, hey, let's destroy each other, let's get this ball rolling. And then Maren, didn't jump on that boat, which I think that played into the game slowing down a little bit more.
I think it was good because if he would have shown me signs to attack Kylted, and then I get weak doing that.
Oh yeah, even vice versa. Like if Maren was not to throw troops
Yeah.
into you, but into Kylted.
Oh yeah,
then-
that would have been different. But I mean, like if he shows me signs to attack Kylted, and then afterwards he like attacks me and backstabs me, I would have been pretty angry. So I probably would have just suicided into him.
We
be
don't play
honest.
for suicides in the finals. Come on.
You wouldn't suicide.
No, I mean if I was left for dead because you both slow roll me
yeah.
with Blitz, then I was like, well, this wasn't nice. So
Well, see,
it's been a
if it's
slice,
not- if
boys.
I'm not saying anybody has to kill off their game, but the soft blitz slider is now a thing in the game. You could use that. So if somebody's not doing something that you want, then go use attacker's advantage to help your game. So you throw a soft blitz at them, like, hey, you're either going to help me or I'm going to hurt you.
yeah,
I think a
that's
lot. Oh.
true. I'm not sure. Yeah, sorry.
I think a lot of like, you guys are like Stove and Pete and a lot of the people in the community. Let's say Cherry, Cowboy, etc. You guys have been around, playing the game. You're experienced. It's not your first tournament, right? So like these games, you're seeing some things, and for us, we're like we had a good tournament. We played well. We developed our own strategies that worked for us through the tournament, but we haven't necessarily like been around the block, so to say, and we haven't seen as much of you guys have seen. So for us,
Alright,
some of these
okay.
things that you guys are like naturally like this needs to happen for this, or in this scenario this happens. For us, we're kind of like winging it, right? Like we're
Yeah,
figuring
you
it
guys
out
are
as
brand
we
new
go.
to this. Okay, this is completely valid. I respect that, But this is why I'm throwing my opinions and thoughts out there just to
Yeah, absolutely.
so
No,
it's
definitely,
heard.
definitely.
Like, okay, this is an option. I didn't think of that, but since he's brought it up, next time
Like
I'm ready to rock
if,
and roll.
If you guys are watching the finals and you see the moment Raleigh stops taking cards, you hear Stove and I react immediately. Like, okay, he takes fourth immediately. We're like, this is the conclusion.
his
There was
game's
no
over.
there was no doubt in either of our minds that move was a immediate loss for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Even if
Same-
he can be
same
taken
for us,
out
yeah.
easily.
No, but to your point,
you
Kylted,
still
you
take
don't
cards.
necessarily know that right off the bat, right? Without maybe trying and learning the hard way.
That's fair.
Yeah.
You 100% die not taking cards.
Well, I do
even
that,
if,
but I guess he
even
didn't.
if you got 5 cards and you die, it's worth taking the risk of, oh, okay, I might get another set. I might become stronger. I might be
Because
less appealing
it is
to
the
another player.
only road to victory.
It's the only road to
To
death.
not death, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
I agree.
Unless you're paired with Cowboy. No.
Uh-oh.
That's your
Sorry.
favorite.
Okay, guys,
Sorry.
we're coming up on an hour and a half. So if there is anything that you guys really wanted to get to that we haven't gotten to, let's give the remaining players the floor. Yeah, Legatus.
I wanted to say, very importantly, I want to thank a lot of people who helped me prepare for the finals. Especially, we had a small group going. I wanted to thank you, Pete, personally. I want to thank
welcome.
Sarip, Sterling, Olive, and I wanted to thank everyone also who participated in a lot of practice games, Kylted, Cherry, Maren, and all the others. And I wanted to also give special thanks for Cowboy for discussing strategies with me for the early rounds. I learned a lot. Yes, so thank you all, guys, and it has been a very pleasant journey.
I guess I could throw a little thank you in there for Cowboy. As soon as I found out I wasn't in his semifinals game and it was on his favorite map, I sent him a private message and he gave me a lot of insight. He did not half-ass that at all, so I definitely appreciated that as well.
It's good to hear you guys are helping each other out. I like that. Even though you could be setting up your opponent for the next game.
I'm ready for that 1v1 tournament, baby.
Yeah, coming right up. I can signal boost that a little bit. In fact, I should probably have access to that calendar. Where did you post the tournament schedule calendar, Stove, so I can bring this up for my audience when they ask me when tournament signups are? I think it's in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Give me 1 second.
Tournament, the 1v1 tournament, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching the show, signups are in approximately 2 weeks from now. It's the middle of October. And I'll post it in the show notes. You can get the exact date. But if you're interested in competing in the 1v1 tournament, by all means, please sign up and join us. It'll be tons of fun.
Do you want to know the date?
Please.
Okay, it's October 18th through October 24th are the signups for the 1v1.
There you go. You heard it. You heard it right from the horse's mouth.
Right, from the horse's mouth. I went ahead and sent you the link, Pete, so if you just want to do that in the video notes,
perfect.
That works too.
Yes, thank you.
And we will not see another FFA till mid-January. So,
yeah.
Which hurts my feelings because I love these tournaments. So
there's another one coming.
Mm-hmm.
So
can't wait.
I have to share it with Sterling, and if team mode ever gets enabled, I'm gonna have to share it with Cherry and Sterling.
Oh goodness.
So.
All right. Unless there is anything else, I'm going to sign off. Yes? Stove? Oh, Maren, yeah, please.
I wanted to say thank you to everyone that participated in the tournament and helped me practice and for just making a really fun tournament.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody that signed up. Please keep signing up. If you have ideas, feel free to DM me. If you have settings, maps, anything that you want me to try out during off season, just send me the settings and I'll try it out. I'm getting DMs constantly with settings and maps, so don't worry about bothering me because I'm already getting these DMs. So if you have suggestions, feel free.
That's awesome.
So thank you for signing up and see you next time.
Everyone?
Yeah,
thank you all for doing the show. Congratulations to our champion, Maren, to our 3 finalists, Maren, Kylted, Legatus. Congratulations to all of the competitors, Cherry, Cowboy, Raleigh, and everyone who competed in this tournament. I hope you guys had tons of fun. I hope you do it again. Gonna call it a night, and if you are all interested in getting better at the game of Risk, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. And until next time, for all of you on the path to world domination, good games and good luck.